Welcome back to Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles, where today we're gonna roast some PetSmart care guides because what the heck? How does these even get put on a shelf with a straight face? Let's see. These might actually be kind of good. I think we're supposed to roll an intro now. Okay, I had a little flick through these. They're not good. First, let's try with king snakes and milk snakes. So if you don't know, all king snakes are, no, that's not how it works. All milk snakes are king snakes, but not all king snakes are milk snakes. Milk and corn snakes originate from fields and forests of the United States and require a moderately warm and humid environment. That is correct. Experience level beginner. Now, I'm gonna be lenient here because if you're talking about certain types of king snakes, I wouldn't consider them to be beginner species, but I would say most of them are, and the ones you'd find at PetSmart are. So we'll give that one okay. King and corn snakes grow 48 to 60 inches. Milk snakes grow 18 to 60 inches. So this, okay, there are technically some king snakes that do grow much smaller than this. But again, we're not going to be talking about the outliers. We're going to be talking about the general rule. So I would say that actually is correct, even though there are exceptions to the rule. Live your life by rules, not by exceptions. Lifespan. These snakes live approximately 18 to 23 years. That's very specific, but I mean, that's also pretty much true. I don't really have a problem with that. Habitat. Multiple corn snakes can be housed together, but king and milk snakes should be housed individually. Okay, so the thinking here, king snakes are but they're called king snakes because they eat other snakes, right? That's why they're called king snakes. So that makes sense. I wouldn't be housing corn snakes together unless I had like a really big setup. They're not quite like garter snakes, so I'll give this one a 0.5. I don't know. All right, so let's look at the little diagram here. That looks not terrible. Like it's too small, obviously. My guess is they're gonna ask you for a 20-gallon enclosure for a snake that gets 5 feet. And if they had a big disclaimer, do more research like most YouTubers like myself do when we do care guides, I'd be much more forgiving. But I think the fact that they're like, yeah, you know, this should be a 70 to 75 degrees for all species is just kind of silly goose stuff. So at least they talk about a gradient. And what they have here is 70 to 75. That's a good range, I'd say. Some of them could probably go into the 60s for the cool side, depending on the temperature, of course. Daytime temperature, 80 to 85, and then the nighttime temperature, okay, can drop to 65. So there you go. That's actually right, and the humidity is, in general, correct. There are some outliers, of course, but in general, I'd give that one, like, I'm actually kind of impressed. I know this is supposed to be roasting care guides. Like, I'm doing my best to be mean now, but this is actually not that bad. How do I set up a corn snake, king snake, milk snake? I read it out of order, but you guys get the point. House one snake in a 20-gallon terrarium with a screen lid. More snakes will need a larger habitat. Well, more snakes will need a larger habitat, but any snake, like any full-size corn snake, I don't even recommend a 40. I recommend at least a 75 at very least, and I'd rather you do a 120. So I think this is like really wrong, and I don't think, but the thing is, that's where they sell their starter kits. They're partners, right? The company they're partnered with to sell the startup kits, they're 20 gallons. So you have to understand too, this is marketing more than they care about the snake, right? It's not saying that PetSmart wants you to kill the snake. I'm just saying this is more for marketing than it is for actual, do your research. Where I don't sell, well, I have affiliate programs, but I don't sell any Wiccan's Wicked terrariums, so I'm just going to tell you what is correct. Line the bottom terrarium with reptile carpet, no, or 2 inches of aspen bedding. That actually makes sense. So never use reptile carpet because it's a breeding ground for bacteria. I know they sell this stuff, but it's crap and you should not use it. They talk about how they need a warm side and a cool side, so a gradient, which is true. Temperature should vary between daytime and nighttime hours. Yeah, okay, that's right. Use the temperature chart. So I'll give that one a yes. Keep in mind, these are North American animals where the temperature will fluctuate. I mean, if you're in Miami, maybe not. But one of the things that always made me feel like, holy cow, is when I go to places like Costa Rica or the jungles of Southeast Asia, the temperature during the day and during the night is basically the same. So those animals, you can be okay with not having a night drop. These would be okay too. But these ones, I recommend giving a night drop because it's more natural for them. Add 2 thermometers, one on each side of the habitat, and a yep, that's good. Mist your snake in habitat as needed to maintain a humidity or an automatic fogger. That works for most species, but here's the problem. If you're gonna have aspen, it's gonna mold. So I would recommend not using aspen if you're going to do that. The way you can get around it is use aspen, but then give them a humid hide rather than misting the entire enclosure. I did a whole corn snake setup right here if you want to watch that. Provide branches, artificial or live, for hiding. Yeah, that's good. That makes sense. These snakes are nocturnal. Some of them are. Some species are not. So, but they need lighting for day and night. Use a UVB bulb to mimic daylight for 12 hours a day and turn it off at night. So, I mean, you can go 12-12. What I like to do for my North American species is mimic literally how, you know, when the sun comes up where I live, the lights go on, and then when the sun goes down, the lights go off. So, you know, shorter days, and it helps with breeding and stuff. But either way, I don't really use UVB for most of my snakes. I've tried it with hognose snakes. I noticed no difference. I have actually tried it with corn snakes and noticed no difference. But I mean, if you want to use it, you can, but it's not really necessary. Although it maybe does give them a benefit. There's just not enough science to say for sure that's a thing. For more information, consult PetSmart. Okay, sure. And what you should feed them: 1 times weekly rodents. And they frozen thawed is what they're asking for. Adult snakes may not feed for several weeks at a time. That's right. And then for water, a fresh water bowl. So that is all good too. And in general, you're going to feed once a week for colubrids. So I'm okay with that. And then it kind of goes into some things that are when to see a vet, which, I mean, okay, if you're selling to new people, that makes sense. But decrease frequency in droppings, well, if they stop eating as much, they're going to not poop as much. That's just how it works. The noise you hear, by the way, is Tilly the Frilly just going crazy on the other side over there. Labored breathing, discharge from eyes, or no, like all that stuff is correct. I'm good with that. So in this, they look for a 20-gallon. So that's no. So in general, what would I give this? I think that the size of the enclosure is huge because it's just so important. That's where your snake is going to spend its whole life, basically. So because of that, I'm going to take points away, quite a few points away. And then everything else was pretty not bad. I think also people are going to get confused over the aspen and then misting and, you know, why is it going moldy? So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. It's actually not that bad. Next, we have redfoot tortoises. I have 2 of these. They're actually cherry heads, but tomato, yellowfoots, redfoots, and cherry heads have the same care. So by the way, I don't open these up first. So let's just go ahead and go through them. Redfoot tortoises, they get their name from the orange-red scales on their front legs and heads. Well, that is true. Experience level, intermediate. Yeah, I would say that is true. Redfoot tortoises grow up to 14 inches. Yeah, that's about right. Lifespan, they can live up to 50 years. No, they can live actually longer than 50 years. But I mean, realistically, you're going to do more research from the day that you get your redfoot to the time it's 50. So it is what it is. I'm still going to market it with an X. Redfoot tortoises are considered to be the friendliest of all tortoise species. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I will say I do find them very friendly. They don't try to bite me. They don't try to scratch you. They're pretty chill. They don't try to run away from you. I love redfoots. They're my favorite species, and that's why I keep them. This is a monstrosity. Do not do anything that resembles this ever. Unless it's a baby for like the first couple weeks, but that's it. Ugh, let's get into this. Daytime temperatures, cool side, 70 to 85. The daytime low temperature, in my opinion, you can actually get down pretty low. I wouldn't go as high as 85 on the cool side. I would say the cool side, somewhere around 70 makes sense. And then the daytime temperature on the warm side, 99 to 95, that actually does work. I mean, you could get away with it actually being 85 on the warm side because you're gonna give them a basking spot, which they don't talk about, but the basking spot can be, you know, up to 100. They don't have to be in it, right? It just depends. I keep mine outside. I know you guys think, oh, he lives in Canada, he must be an Eskimo. No, it gets as hot here as it does in South Florida for 3 months of the year. They can do really well at very cool temperatures. So the other night it was 8 degrees Celsius. I left them out there. I've left them out there as cool as 6 degrees Celsius. Normally, if it's only going to be one night. So as long as the temperature during the day, the next day, and the day that it gets cool is over 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know why we're going back and forth. I will leave them outside if it gets down to say 10 degrees. And then there's exceptions where it was 8 degrees. And then the one night it called to be 9, but it turned into 6. They were completely fine. If it got anywhere near freezing though, I would not do it. Anyway, humidity, 50 to 80%. Okay, that's cool. They do like it really humid. You can get up into 90%, but I don't recommend any lower than 50% for any length of time at all. How do I set up my terrarium? A single juvenile tortoise will need at least 50-gallon terrarium with a screen lid. No, not a 50. No, don't put your tortoise in a glass enclosure at all to begin with, because they're going to surf on it. They're going to keep smashing the glass. They don't understand glass. No, this is so bad. No. Line the bottom of the terrarium 2 to 3 inches of reptile safe substrate. Remove droppings frequently. Okay, well, that's pretty vague, but yeah, that's about right. A UVA UVB lamp near the basking lamp simulates 12 hours daylight and provides calcium absorption. Well, that is true. That's pretty vague, but yes, they do need UVB for sure. Your tortoises will have a bad time. Look at this one with its pyramiding shell. I'm the third owner of these tortoises. They're pretty old, and if they were in my care, they would not have had this. This is because they did not get the proper UVB for part of the year, for part of their lifetime, rather. Tortoises require a temperature gradient, a cool side, warm side, and 2 thermometers, blah, blah, blah. Same as the last one, that's right. Place a high wattage basking lamp directly above an open area designated for basking during the day. At night, use a ceramic heat emitter under tank heater. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, realistically, you can just turn all the heat off because they can handle big night drops. That's totally fine. And realistically, in your home, how cool is it going to get? 65 maybe if you have a father that doesn't let you touch the thermostat. We all know what that's like. A large hide on the cool and warm sides. That is true. I mean, realistically, you can have hides all over the place or just one. It doesn't really matter. They're not really shy tortoises. Mine just sleep basically anywhere. Provide a shallow water dish wide enough for your tortoises to soak in. Yeah, I agree. I don't ever really see mine in the water that much unless they need to go to the bathroom, because that's generally immediately after I change the water. I don't know why they do that. What did we feed the tortoises? Power greens. Ooh, power greens. Offer spring mixes and supplements with vegetables and dark leafy greens. Dust the calcium. I love how they don't mention what it is, because don't feed them things like spinach or kale. They're calcium binding. Don't do it. Instead, I literally grow a garden in front of my tortoise enclosure. And during the year when I don't have the garden, because it's cold here most of the year, I go to the store. Dandelion green, watercress, Swiss chard is the big one. I grow tons of that. Mustard green, collard green. Those are the ones that I use. And then I give them a little bit of fruit. And then these specific species of tortoise actually do need a little bit of protein. So sometimes they'll get a mouse pinky and they'll be pretty happy about it. Pelleted blend. You can feed them pellets, but I don't recommend this being their full-time diet. Fruits, yes. So 1 to 2 times weekly. Yep, that makes sense for sure. And they're saying every day for the greens, which is true. And every 3 to 4 weeks, protein. Okay, that's actually really good. Or frozen thawed rodent. Look at that. And water can be cleaned, blah, blah, blah. Good. All this stuff to go to a vet is going to be like not untrue. That's fine. So besides the fact that they don't have a freaking clue how to house the things, which is a big deal. That's such a big deal. You need a big pen for these things. Redfoot tortoises, if you'd like, I can do a care guide. I haven't done one yet. But they need, in mine, they get, I think it's 8 foot by 12 foot. That's like the space. And then I'm going to be putting Doug, the iguana, in there as well. So I'm going to make it 8 feet tall and then lots of perches and stuff. This is a very, very common thing. This, like, people have done this for years and years and years. Lots of people do, including on YouTube. So I think that you need a big, big space. And then during the winter months, they get to run around the room a lot, but they get at least a 8 foot by 4 foot enclosure, which still to me just seems like a little small. 6 out of 10. Like, you got to figure out how to... No. Would you like to see me do more of those? Let me know in the comments section below. Please hit the like and subscribe button while you're down there. And if you want to talk more about this on a one-on-one, Patreon for as little as $1 a month, discounts on merch, virtual one-on-ones with me. I do them right here in front of this enclosure, and sometimes I take the snakes out and stuff. It's a whole thing. All that and more. And I do videos on Mondays and Thursdays, so that means I'll see you in the next one.